Ready for another mix? Today, we're mixing up this little beauty. Sodalite Genuine by Daniel Smith. What a gorgeous color this is. This one was a special, this came out of the comment section. So we had a couple weeks ago, Pogara28 said, wow, that's amazing. Now I had mixed Sleeping Beauty Turquoise Genuine. I mixed a hue to match that. And on that video, Pogara28 responded, well, that's amazing. I never thought about trying to mix a Primatech. I think I'll try my favorite Sodalite. Thanks for this. You're welcome. But in the comments, on that comment, we had another response from Miss Nancy Rolfe 3033. If you figure out how to mix, will you please share it with her so she can share it with us? I, along with so many others, love Sodalite. Well, Nancy, here you go. Today, we are mixing up Sodalite Genuine. I thought, you know what? I love Sodalite. Why don't we take on this challenge together? So I did, and I'm going to show you how to mix it today. It's really pretty easy to get a color that looks similar to this, but be sure to stay tuned to the end because I think you're going to be interested to hear my overall thoughts on this one. Okay, as always, last week I really shared with you behind the scenes, like how I come up with my mixes, and this week was no exception. Here's my big card where I was just playing with colors. Don't mind the greens. That was something else I was working on, and I changed my mind and said, I'm going to go with Sodalite this week. So Sodalite Genuine here. Sodalite Genuine is here. Sodalite Genuine is here. I started off seeing the blue that was underneath, and I thought, you know, that looks like a warm blue. But I wonder if like phthalo blue red shade would separate out and give me the blue I'm seeing in the underneath. But I need something with granulation. So how about ultramarine blue? They're both warm, ultramarine blue and phthalo blue red shade. So I tried that. And maybe I didn't put enough of the PBK11, the lunar black, in here. Quite possible. But the overall underlying tone wasn't really matching up. So we moved on. And I tried others. And I tried others. I just kept mixing different pigments to find out what can I do, like where it needed to be warmer, but like this was too warm. So like with just the ultramarine blue and PBK11, the lunar black or Mars black, if you're not working with Daniel Smith, that not quite it. You see, here's the original here. This is a bit cooler blue undertone than this. We need something to neutralize that that PB29, that ultramarine blue. We need something that will neutralize that a little bit. Because I tried others and it was either way too cool, like these, or it was way too warm, like these. What I found was my mix here. Again, this is the same. Here's the original from the tube that I dried down into a half pan. And this is directly from the stick of the Sodalite Genuine, this little guy. We're going to talk about that. So I have tube paint dried into a half pan, and I have the stick of Sodalite Genuine. And when I tested my mix here, this was my mix, and I thought, oh, that might be a little bit too much of the black in there. And so I added a little bit more blues, and I thought, that has a little bit more. The blues are too strong in this mix. But I think this one really kind of nailed it. But we're going to talk about something, and I don't know if you'll pick it up when we look at these up close, but let's look at this mixture. And you see there on the left, I'm going to use ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, and Mars black or lunar black in this case to get this. But there's something there. Maybe you're picking up on it. I'm going to tell you in a few minutes about this color. We might not be able to get exactly. Okay. I'm going to pause, get my pigments listed here. We're going to swatch them out individually and create this mix. It's really very easy to combine. So let's see each of the pigments on their own. To start with, I have French Ultramarine by Daniel Smith. So this is PB29, but it is a French Ultramarine. And I chose that one because look at all the granulation happening down here. I knew that French Ultramarine was going to offer a lot of granulation. And then the one that I had to add was Cobalt Blue. Now, Cobalt Blue, I haven't received my Cobalt Blue by Daniel Smith yet. That one is actually sitting in my cart waiting for me to order it. However, I do have PB28 Cobalt Blue by Mission Gold. And that is the one that I grabbed for this mix. Also a color that has some granulation. And to finish it off, I did try it with the Mission Gold, the Cobalt Black, but kind of liked it a little better with Daniel Smith's PBK11, the Lunar Black. And that is this one right here. Again, plenty of granulation in the Lunar Black. So I knew with these three colors, I should have all that granulating power that I want to kind of mimic what Sodalite does. Let's look at how we mix this. I'm going to bring in my palette. Here are some of my mixes that I worked up with the phthalos and stuff like that that didn't work. Down here, this is where it worked. So first off, let me just put a little bit so you can see of the Sodalite Genuine on my palette. So this is Sodalite Genuine from a tube dried down to a half pan. Okay. And here is the Sodalite Genuine. You see, I drop a couple drops of water on my palette. And then you just take your stick, just swirl it around on your palette. And you can just swirl that until you get the consistency you're looking for. Okay. So there's our Sodalite Genuine from the stick. They're looking a little slightly different. Of course, the one from the pan, see that? They're looking slightly different. When I swatch them out, they're not actually not too bad. And I just touched, so we've ruined that. What are you going to do? Okay, but let's talk about our mix. All we need is to be able to have a look at those as we're mixing. So there are my two original versions. We're just going to leave these right up here. Okay, we're going to start with our ultramarine blue. So let's put down some ultramarine blue. See how nice and warm that is? And to that, we're going to take our cobalt blue. And the cobalt blue is a little cooler in comparison. And we're going to blend those, and we're going to try to get a nice neutral blue going on here. Or a more neutralized ultramarine. Okay. So that's, about a 50-50 mix right there. Then to that, I hate having to rinse my brush in between each one, but we're going to take our PBK 11. We got to get dark. We got to get really dark. So don't be afraid to use your PBK 11. Now, when I look at that and I look at that, so similar. So similar. Let's just go ahead and dive right in and see if we got it right first try. All right, so just like I did before, I'm going to kind of rinse this because all that granulation happens when we bring in a lot more water. Bring that out. Look at that. They are so very similar. So very similar. The underlying color right now that I'm seeing here is slightly off, and that might be that I didn't get enough of the pigment in on this swatch. I'll do it like I always do with two bigger swatches for you. We'll look at that in a moment. But still, I think you're going to be surprised at my opinion on this one when we get to the end. Let me just grab the paper so we can see some bigger square swatches side by side. I am just using my bee-inspired watercolor paper today, like I usually do to mix on. I don't know if you guys heard that, but it is storming here. All right. Once again, we're going to go with our original. And you know what? I'm just going to, here is the original from the pan, right? And again, this was a tube dried down to a half pan. And then let me show you, since this ran together, I'm going to do this again because I want to show you just the stick. So we're going to, that is the best way to dissolve your sticks. You could paint like right from the end here. Absolutely a way to do it. Here is our stick. Daniel Smith says that the paint is the same, whether you get it in pan or stick form. I'm not seeing as much of that blue underlying. You just grab a little bit more right from the stick to put in here. See if that happens as it separates out more water, just like I did for this one. Right? See how that works. And then once again, let's do our mix. So we're just going to mix right in the same spot. We have ultramarine blue, our cobalt blue, and to that we add our lunar black or your PBK11, right? Mars black. I almost put that in the wrong spot. I think that might need just a touch more of the PBK11. I am using my size 8 round Princeton Velvet Touch brush today for mixing. There we go. Okay, ready? Let's pop that right in the middle. See what we've got. Looks kind of like what we started with when we had the stick, doesn't it? Just drop a little extra pigment in there. Let those kind of play around. All right, we're going to look at this again in a moment. We're going to come back to our original card. We'll let those set. But I will mark them so that I can't forget which was which. Okay, so I have marked those. They're still doing their separating and drying. And it's really, this is going to really help me be able to show you what I wanted to talk about. So here is our mix. I'm seeing the blues that come through just like I do in the Sodalite Genuine. I'm seeing all of that granulating and the flocking going on with the pigments. Can you mix something that looks very similar to Daniel Smith Sodalite Genuine? Yes, I think you can. However, let's look at the big sheet, and we'll look at these two as soon as they finish drying because you're definitely going to be able to see it on here as well. I think more so with the tube to pan Sodalite that I used versus the stick. And I just have to say that in my stick, you know, I don't know, it's Sodalite Genuine. If it's 100% genuine Sodalite, can the colors vary in batches? I mean, I guess they probably could. I'm not seeing as vibrant blue undertone coming out of this one as I do with the tube paint, which makes me think maybe I might want to stick with the tube version versus the stick version because I really love this color. However, this is a nice moody color. A lot of you guys always pop in the comments and ask me, that's great, but what would you use it for? How would you use this color when you're painting? I would absolutely use Sodalite Genuine to do a monochromatic landscape that was just moody. I would use it in landscape for really moody skies. If I wanted something that was stormy, like it's going on right now, this is something I might use. I would also use this if I was painting some water. Imagine if you're painting water, like look at, we've got some light, we've got some shadow going on. that could really help you there as well. What other ways do you like to use Sodalite Genuine? If this is a color that is one of your favorites, drop it in the comments and let us know, because it does. It helps everybody when they're trying to figure out, is that a color I want to use, but how would I paint with it? Is it worth me adding it to my palette? Only you can answer that question. However, let us come back to this. Remember I said we were going to talk about this in a minute. The original, and I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but the original, this dark granulation is very much a warm, dark, deep blue. When we make the dupe, if you would, our hue that is supposed to resemble Sodalite Genuine, we can absolutely get the granulation in there, and we can get the separation with the blues happening underneath, just like the original. However, that little flocking that we have on top, instead of it being a really deep, deep navy, warmish blue, that's black. Some of our PB29 is mixing with it, but it still has more of that black look to it versus this like really pretty deep, deep blue flocking on the surface here. I mean, it's close. It is so close. It almost looks black. It's not easily discernible. So if you didn't have the original in the painting where you're like, oh wait, no, that was Sodalite and that's not, you know what I mean? Like if they weren't like this in a painting, I don't think you'd ever really know that you weren't getting that beautiful texture and appearance from the actual Sodalite Genuine if you used this mix. But that's something that's important to note. So when we do this, and I think I put more of the black that time than I did the time before, I'm going to do it. I just want to do one more real quick because I think I had more black than I did the times before. And I do think it certainly makes a difference. We can get that really gorgeous blue coming through. I'm going to do my mix one more. This mix here. Oops, that was all my water's dirty at this point. Yeah, I think this is going to show us a bit better. This one's definitely going to show up better when we compare our original pan to this one here. So I'm going to pause, let that do it separate. Already you can see, look at that. That was better than this one. And I think it was even better than this one, this mix right here. Just going to play with it and you get used to it really quickly. This, as it settles, more and more of the black, the PBK11 will come to the surface. So let's give that a moment and we can look at it again. Because I have space, we're going to grab the original from the pan. You know, it was a lot. That's really wet from working on it. There we go. That was super close. Okay, so original, mix. I'm going to let those two dry. I'm seeing a bit more of that blue, like bright blue showing up right there, which again, sometimes it's really got to play with how much of the blue versus the black is in it. So there we go. All right, let's let these settle and I'll let you have a peek at them and I'm going to let you know what I think when it comes to Sodalite Genuine. Okay. So they're still damp, but they've done their separating and the blues weren't quite as neutralized, but look at here. Like even when you go, this was from the pan, this was from the pan. Look how much the blues are showing here, how much the blues are showing here. This mix, the blues weren't showing up as much. And yet this one, when I swatched it from the pan, they're not quite showing up as much. So you really you get a variation. It's a gorgeous color. I absolutely love it. Can you mix a similar color, a hue that resembles Sodalite Genuine? I think you can. This just wasn't quite neutralized enough with the blues. They're just a little off, but you can see here they are real close. They are really close. So yeah, I think you can. However, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I'm using PB29 French Ultramarine, PB28 Cobalt Blue, and PBK11 Lunar Black. If you already have these colors sitting at home with you right now and you want to play with these and mix them up because you don't have Sodalite Genuine, or maybe you have it and you want to see if you can match it and how close it looks for you, and if that's something you'd rather do in the future, that's fine. However, if you don't have all three of these colors already and you don't have Sodalite Genuine, can we just share that perhaps the best route to take would be to get the Sodalite Genuine? Here, wait a minute. I want to show you. Here's the stick. Let's look at the stick first. At the time that I am recording this, this is how much you can get a stick, this guy, of Sodalite Genuine 4. Now, I like to put my sticks into half pans sometimes. That's how I work with my PBK11. PBK11 that I'm working with today is from a stick. It looks like this in my pan. You guys can see that. That was a stick that I put in there. It's really hard to see because it's black, but it was a stick, and I just use it. It's just wearing down the side. These sticks are highly pigmented. I'm loving having that in my palette. So for me, the Lunar Black, mine is a stick form. You can do that with this. And if you're saying, hey, I want to put that in a pan, just so you're aware, you can see there's one. If I slide that down, there's two. If I slide it down again, there's three. Slide it down again, there's four. And I still have some left. You can get almost 5 half pans out of one stick. Sticks will last you a while. So there you go. And I did show you the stick. This is not showing, like, I don't know, maybe I need more in the water so that I can really kind of get it looking like this. But you just saw real quick how I was using it. And that's the result from the stick. I think the tube dried to the pan in this particular case is looking more vibrant. I might stick with, obviously I'm going to use my stick. I have it. But I had a 5 ml tube, and I decided that for that price, I wanted to try the stick and see how it compared. So this was great for me because I may choose to stick with Sodalite Genuine from the tube paint. And if that's something you're interested in, there's the tube. Now that's a 5 ml tube. So you're talking 5 mLs, about 1 pan worth, versus 5 pans that you can get out of one stick. If you were looking at a 15 ml tube, that's the current price. And that is on Blick for US. I'm here in the US. So is it worth it to add colors and mix this one? Or if you already have the colors, it's absolutely worth giving it a try. And I hope you will. And I hope you'll drop me a comment below and let me know if this is one that you are going to give a shot, and what you think about the mix. For me personally, this is one that, while I would absolutely play with Lunar Black mixed with so many colors, when I want something that looks like Sodalite Genuine, for me, I'm going to reach for Sodalite Genuine. It is one of my absolute favorite colors, and it has a permanent place on my palette. So I hope you've enjoyed being able to come up with a hue that looks similar to Sodalite Genuine. I hope that, Nancy, that helped, and you are thrilled to give this one a try. Again, Polgara28, thank you so much for adding the comment that got this conversation started. If there is a mix that you guys would like to know how to mix, drop me a comment and let me know. If there's a color that you are interested in, I read all the comments, and I do try to comment back with all of you. The comments have been picking up a bit, so it's I'm still trying to keep up. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you. I hope you've enjoyed this mix. I'm going to pop another video up right here that you might like to watch next. And in the meantime, my friends, keep mixing, keep creating, and I'm going to see you in a video real soon. Bye, guys.